Able to let them know who won. And welcome back to Pittsburgh. Here is the starting lineup for UConn. Mooring, Elamine, Ajo Deng gets a start tonight. The sophomore, Kevin Freeman up front along at the center. Jake Vasco, the man they call the goaltender. Brandon Knight, a freshman point guard, starting the back line for the Panthers of Pittsburgh. Holmes, Zavaskis, Greer, and Seabrooks, the rest of the starting five. Ajo Deng, who they think has the potential to be very much like Danielle Marshall, the former UConn All-American, getting a start tonight. As you see, averaging just under 5 points a game. And Kevin Freeman, a career 55% shooter, a top defender. You remember he was the most valuable player of the Big East tournament last March after not making the All-Big East first team. He's a co-captain along with Jake Vasco. Jody Sylvester ready to put the ball in the air. They're up and standing at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, and the tap is controlled by UConn. Putting it right up early and not getting it to go down. And here is the rebound by Vasco, back up and down. A putback by Jake Vasco, and the Huskies take a lead.
Yeah, right away you see UConn banging the backboards. They've got to do a good job off the offensive boards tonight.
This is the 42nd meeting between UConn and Pittsburgh, as down low we have a travel call. It is on Zavaskis, and so the ball turns over to UConn.
Looks like Pitt's playing a 2-3 zone early. That's what Notre Dame played the other night. It will invite the jump shot.
And Elamine, Ron, will take that invitation right away, as he is now averaging almost 19 points a game, hitting 44% from the field. Very good free throw shooter, and he likes to get to the line with his drives. As another whistle stops play down low. Jake Vasco gets his first personal foul.
The thing with UConn scoring early, they've come out really on fire. It gets that 2-2-1 press going. They're going to try to pick the tempo of this game up. Critical that Knight and company take good care of the ball for the Panthers.
They were really troubled by turnovers in their opening Big East game against St. John's. The Red Storm literally took Pitt apart with its 94 feet of pressure. Tremendous defense by St. John's. Seabrooks, turnaround shot. Threw up a clanker, and the ball will come back inbounds to UConn.
Connecticut's got that big front line out there with Voskuhl leading the way, and of course Dang tall with the arms outstretched. They're going to make it tough for Pitt getting it inside tonight.
Big height advantage for UConn. Here is Dang coming outside, down to Voskuhl. They collapse on him. Elamine with a good kick out. Good ball movement, looking for that extra pass to find the open shooter, and the open shooter is Ajo Deng. As UConn wanted a quick start, and they've got one. They're hit 3 of their first 4 shots. So UConn jumping out to a 7-0 lead. You're watching Big East basketball from ESPN+. He's out of the gate quickly, jumping out to a 7-0 lead over Pitt here at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. As UConn now, Ron, ready to bring some full court pressure.
Yeah, it's the 2-2-1. They like to try to push you up the sidelines and set the trap just over midcourt. They're very quick with it, and that was a nice timeout by Ben Howland. Quick start by UConn. They're fired up after the loss. He wanted to settle his team down.
Well, he worked his team hard on breaking the press after just one turnover after another against St. John's, so they get the ball down. Ben Howland's teams in Northern Arizona led the nation in three-point shooting the previous 3 years. He wants to get some long launches going. Here is Ricardo Greer, the best scorer and rebounder for the Panthers. Beautiful looking move by the big guy. Strong up front.
So he's been doing all year long. That's a nice one-on-one move. Look at Elamine penetrating early in this one.
Firing long again. Elamine hit a 3 earlier. Can't get this to go. Here's a 2-on-1 break. Knight leads it, dishes. Ricardo Greer, and Pitt looking good after the timeout.
Very nice feed by Knight that time, and Greer in a great flow this year for Pitt. They'd like to get some of those transition baskets tonight.
Well, they got one there, and it was well done. And so after Connecticut jumped out to a 7-0 lead, it's now a 7-4 game. Notre Dame with good success zoning against Connecticut. It going man, and here we have a foul called on Big East officials in addition to Jody Sylvester, Carl Hess, and Mike Kitts.
A lot of leather on that rejection, but You really pick up early in this game that Khalid El-Amin looking to penetrate against the zone. Against Notre Dame the other night, Connecticut content to work around the perimeter. Knight thinks he got a lot of ball, but he's not going to win that argument as El-Amin goes to the line.
Brandon Knight, the freshman from East Orange. His brother, of course, is Brevin Knight, the former All-American at Stanford. And his dad was a great player at Seton Hall, Mel Knight. Now, of course, Brevin Knight, the point guard for the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers. Brandon Knight there was an all-state defensive back at Seton Hall Prep. So he can play hard. And now, as the lead jumps to 5 for UConn, here's the pressure against Knight.
It's important for Pitt that they have some success getting the ball to the middle against pressure. Right there, as you see Holmes coming into the middle. Difficult to trap when you're in the middle of the court.
Greer getting the ball a lot. They've got their best defender, Kevin Freeman, on him. Vasquez with a good kick out. Brevin Knight puts it up high, but too much on it. Brandon Knight. And here comes Khalid El-Amin. And a travel call on the Huskies. The first turnover of the game for UConn, and the ball turns back over to Pittsburgh.
One thing about UConn tonight, they look very aggressive against pressure. Oh, nice quick pass to the middle.
Greer can't get it down. Ajo Deng sweeps the defensive board. Very quick tempo for Connecticut. Down low to Vasco, back to Kevin Freeman. Well done on the give and go by the Huskies, and they extend their lead to 7 again, 11-4.
Very important for Freeman to get off the blocks. Look for Freeman, Mooring. These are the guys that are going to step it up along with El-Amin.
Freeman now has 4 points, and the Panthers come right back down and hit.
Oh, that was a fine penetrating move by Jeremy Holmes. Just went right down the middle as Pitt goes right back into the zone. Connecticut playing man-to-man so far tonight.
You think Pitt was, Connecticut was looking for zone after the way Notre Dame effectively defended them?
I think so. I think they've got the smaller front line tonight, so I think Jim Calhoun was probably anticipating that Ben Howland would go to the zone. He has his team primed and ready for it, and I'm sure they stressed penetration, and they said to Mooring, look for that open jump shot.
Vasquez just got his first personal foul, second team foul on the Panthers. Ball inbounds to Connecticut. Loose ball scooped up by Kevin Freeman, the senior forward.
Interesting with Mooring up top right now. They're trying to get El-Amin to the wing. Oh, nice pick.
Ish. And Brandon Knight, the freshman, takes to the distance, and the Panthers are back to within 3, down 11-8. It was a day of upsets today in Big East play. 4 road teams were victors, including Syracuse at Miami in a big one, and a tremendous win for Seton Hall. A rare win over Georgetown in Washington.
Boy, that was a tough turnaround by Voskuhl on that one, and he seems offensive-minded tonight as well.
Voskuhl's first 2 points of the game.
Huskies have been playing great man-to-man defense this year, holding the opposition to about 35-36% shooting. They don't give you a lot of open looks.
That was one of the keys to their great success last year, the national championship year. They allowed such a low shooting percentage by the opposition, as Kelly Taylor gets his first points of the game and brings the Panthers back to within 3.
Boy, some nice backdoor cutting by Pitt at the offensive end.
They keep coming to that near side flank, though, launching the 3. That's the third from out there. This one doesn't go, though. Here comes Taylor driving hard, and the ball is taken away by El-Amin.
Up-tempo city right here.
Second turnover for Pitt, and now Connecticut out at the outset starts to cool off.
One of the advantages of the zone, Seabrooks with the rebound. You tend to be in better rebounding position off that long jump shot.
The Panthers have been in a slump in recent years. Their last 20-win season was 9 years ago. Their coach, Ben Howland, he encourages to take the extra pass to find the open shooter, but he likes to see the long ball launched. Loves the three-pointer, and now Knight is inside, but he is called for a travel, a third turnover by the Panthers here in the early going. 14-12 to play in the first half. Connecticut by 3. The University of Pittsburgh, Connecticut, out to a 13-10 lead. And now let's take a look at some of the other scores brought to you by ESPN.com, part of the Go Network.
Well, Syracuse, big win today against Miami at Miami. It's always tough to win there. And Providence with a nice victory against Boston College.
And two other road teams were victors in Big East play today. St. John's going to West Virginia. St. John's with not a lot of size and no Ron Artest this year, but they really can play defense. And look at Seton Hall. That is a tremendous overtime win for Coach Amaker and his Pirates.
That's right. Shaheen Holloway and company getting the job done on the road. And they're doing a fine job so far this year.
Well, they've got some terrific young players at Seton Hall, like Darius Lane, a redshirt freshman. And then a big center, Samuel Gallenberg, a rejector in the middle. Here is Saunders getting the offensive rebound. And they start over on the outside. Tony Robertson, a freshman guard, is also in the game now for UConn, playing down on the baseline. Turnaround shot by Suleiman Wan. Boy, doesn't shoot a lot. Here comes the Panthers, breaking nicely. Lead inside to Lockhart. He rips the ball away, and now Saunders takes it away. Edmund Saunders on the run, and there's a foul call. A good foul by Kelly Taylor. Stops the breakaway score.
Good defense by Connecticut that time. It looked like Pitt getting another break opportunity, but Connecticut generates so much of their offense off the defense. You can't make casual passes, and Saunders quick forward that time. That's a good foul by Taylor. Make him earn the points from the foul line.
That is his first personal foul for Kelly Taylor. Third team foul on Pitt. And to the free throw line is big Edmund Saunders, a junior from Waterbury, Connecticut, averaging almost 9 points a game, 8.8. He's a key to really picking up the scoring slack. I mean, no matter how good this team is in depth, and this Connecticut team could be tremendous, but they're still looking to replace the 21.5 points a game that the All-American Richard Hamilton gave him last season.
That's right. I mean, Hamilton, the go-to guy. And, of course, Elamine distributing the ball. Now Elamine scoring, but he needs that combined help from people like Saunders.
Saunders extends the Connecticut lead now to 15-10. 13:30 to go in the first half. UConn shooting well from the free throw line. There's the field goal shooting.
Yeah, both clubs have come out shooting the ball well in this game from the perimeter as well as inside. Connecticut in their trademark man-to-man defense. And Pitt, if you're just joining us, is playing the 2-3 zone tonight.
UConn has won 14 straight road games. They're tremendous on the road. And last year, as all the Husky fans know, the UConn Huskies were 9-0 on the road in Big East play. They swept to both the regular season and conference tournament championship for the second straight year.
It's really impressive because it is difficult to win in some away courts like this one. We call it Friendly Fitzgerald here on the campus of Pittsburgh, but a tight college campus environment where the fans really get into the game.
The foul was on Tony Robertson, a freshman scorer from East Providence who has really been putting up numbers in the recent games. And that is the first free throw try for Pitt. Zavaskis, big guy from Lithuania, went to high school in Ohio, and they wouldn't let him play high school basketball last year because they said he was a recruit, which apparently he was.
He's playing good basketball for Pitt this year. He's a rugged, hard-working kid. Plays both the small and power forward spots for this Pitt Panther club.
He had a scouting book on him, Ron, as he gives you everything he's got from tip to buzzer.
He doesn't let up. He's relentless out there as Pitt looks to trap a little bit out of the 2-3 zone. The pass that should be there for Connecticut if there's trapping is the cross-court skip pass for the jumper.
So the ball comes inbounds now to Connecticut. Kevin Freeman set to bring it in with 12:51 to go in the first half. Connecticut has led twice by 7 points, including an early 7-0 lead. Long ball right on time as Robertson, the freshman, drills it.
Now Robertson's had some very big games this year for UConn, and right now Jimmy Calhoun has Khalid Elamine on the bench, so Robertson and Mooring in the backcourt looking to step up offensively.
Knight with a good bounce pass down to Seabrooks. He's been quiet. The pivot man with a turn and a hook shot. And Chris Seabrooks, an 11-point-a-game scorer, gets his first two.
Important to establish something on the blocks. Nice job by the big fella for the Panthers.
Very tight, hawking defense. Pittsburgh really had an off night against St. John's in the Big East opener. They absolutely were deplorable, but they are looking a lot better tonight. A lot more cohesive, attacking more, breaking the press better. Most importantly, not turning the ball over. Levanskis down low with a putback. It's a three-point game, Connecticut.
Boy, Pitt is really banging the backboards, playing with some confidence out there. And for Connecticut, they've got to bang the boards and try to get a couple of offensive rebounds going against this zone.
Getting those second chances, maybe the most valuable commodity in the game, the offensive rebounds. A lot of work down low. And a 3-second violation signaled against the Huskies, so the ball turns over to the Pitt Panthers. That's the third turnover for Connecticut. You're watching Big East basketball from ESPN+.
Back to Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, where Connecticut leads Pittsburgh by 3 points. And there's been some good offensive rebounding action early in this game by Pitt, keeping them involved as Zavaskis that time with a good putback, and Pitt playing very competitively early in this one.
Now let's take a look at the Volkswagen Big East leaders. Rebounding margin, Syracuse. Kevin Bannon of Rutgers, after his team lost to Syracuse, said this is clearly the best Syracuse team he's seen in his 3 years at Rutgers.
Well, Laton Thomas is dynamite in the middle, and Pitt doing an excellent job. We've talked about Ricardo Greer and Seabrooks. UConn with their big front line led by Jake Voskuhl. So some very good rebounding teams in the conference leading the way.
Good pressure again by Connecticut, and here is the freshman. Very confident, very good with the ball. Brandon Knight, 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. Looking to slash to the basket if that gap is there.
Good man-to-man defense by UConn. They're always creating havoc. You've got to look to penetrate from the backcourt against this man-to-man and not hesitate when you have the open jumper.
Greer's been looking for the open jumper. They double up on him down low. Here's a steal by Elamine ahead of the pack. And Khaled Elamine with a tremendous play, and you can see the burst he has. Might be a little bulky, but he can run fast.
I'll tell you what, he is very quick, crafty, and he knows how to release that ball and get the shot off. Seen him score against just about everybody.
Will he be back at UConn next year for a senior season? Unlikely.
I would agree with that. He seems to be ready for the next level now. It's up to him.
Taylor gets out to Zavaskis.
Oh, nice look.
Working hard, but his bounce lead down low is off the hands of Seabrooks, and the ball comes inbounds to Connecticut.
Thought that was a good look by Zavaskis. Seabrooks, his teammate, has to anticipate that look and move toward the goal to finish it off.
Pitt has turned the ball over now 6 times, and the Huskies have scored 7 points off those 6 turnovers.
That's really trademark UConn. They play the tough D, start to finish. You know you're going to get that, and they tend to get a lot of good offense off the D.
Elamine launching long. Almost got a friendly roll, but it caroms off. Zavaskis out tonight.
Oh, nice move.
But again, it's slapped away inside. Look who comes down the middle with the ball. Elamine. And down low, following the play and putting it up and down is the big center, Jake Voskuhl. And so again, Connecticut builds to a 7-point advantage, and there's a timeout called by Coach Ben Howland and his Pitt Panthers.
Well, that's another good timeout, as all of a sudden what he wants to avoid here tonight, Don, is allowing Connecticut to have big spurts. And you see Connecticut suddenly bust down the court a couple of times off their defense. The timeout, the 30 seconds. Let's regroup, and let's start to take better care of the ball at the offensive end.
Well, this is the 4th 7-point lead for UConn, and every time the Panthers have rallied back. To get information on your favorite Big East team, go online at www.bigeast.org for all the basketball and conference news from around the Big East. And this is going to be a tremendous year for Big East basketball. The established powers are good again. UConn, St. John's, Syracuse. But there are rising teams like Seton Hall. And Notre Dame has certainly served notice, beating both the defending national champion and another Final Four team, Ohio State, already this year on the road.
And Miami's always tough with Johnny Hemsley and company. So another interesting year shaping up in Big East Conference play.
And some standout freshmen you'll be hearing a lot about, like Troy Bell, the backline player for Boston College, a huge scorer. Loose ball, Elamine doing tricks, comes up.
Oh, what an effort!
Giving up his body for love of the game. Elamine out to Deng, and he's the beneficiary of all that with an open shot that doesn't go, and here comes Knight.
Boy, that was an all-out effort by Elamine.
Beautifully done. Brandon Knight with the loop lead pass to big Donatas Zavascus, who now has 5. And it's a 5-point lead for the Huskies.
Basketball's a game of momentum, and Connecticut could have scored there, but a nice bounce back by Pitt.
They're playing hard. It's the way we like it. And here come the Panthers. Lead pass out to Greer. They've defended him well after he got going early. Here's Zavascus banging a 3. And that gets sold out Fitzgerald Fieldhouse up and cheering as the Panthers have rallied back to within 2. This Pitt team, Ronnie, is absolutely a totally different ball club than the one that played St. John's a few days ago.
Well, they're home. They're in the game. Nice timeout by Ben Holland. Takes a 7-point game, and all of a sudden it's 2 with a couple of Zavascus hoops. Jim Calhoun, same strategy. Timeout to try to turn the tide in this game, and he thought Doug Wren was whacked the last time down for UConn, and he might have a case inside.
Here's the lead.
Yeah, that's really nice. You got Jeremy Holmes. They're working that ball around the perimeter, and Zavascus, who just scored inside, he can step outside and nail it from the perimeter as he drains the 3.
So Zavascus picks up his scoring, coming in averaging 8.9 points a game. There he is, a 6'8" from Lithuania. Must play a lot of basketball. There's a lot of good players come out of there. Lithuania and Croatia.
Absolutely. That's excellent basketball country and fundamentally sound. Big guys that can handle the ball, shoot it, and know how to get it done.
Zavascus has 8. Great follow-up. That is the highly regarded freshman slamming it down. Doug Wren from Seattle, Washington, who was a top 25 recruit. Tremendous elevation. He plays with a mean streak. He was the Washington State High School Player of the Year.
He can rise to the occasion. He got up on that one.
Head up by the rim. Kelly Taylor fires. Doesn't go. Elamine, shortest player on the floor, comes up with the board.
Where it's so important to have your floor general. Elamine, the rebound. He'll settle things down. He's got a freshman out there in Wren, and he'll take charge for the Huskies.
So there's a timeout on the floor. Connecticut continues to lead the game, albeit by a 4-point margin now.
Connecticut by 4 against Pittsburgh at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, and Colin Elamine, as usual, drawing a crowd with the up fake, but it's the inside play here of Doug Wren, number 55, showing some emotion with that slam dunk and the offensive putback for the Huskies.
Doug Wren, 55, playing a very big 6'6". They think he could be a real star down the line, playing as a freshman. In fact, they say he is the most gifted player in the program with overall talent.
Quite a statement when you consider the talent.
Elamine, as he did in scoring 34 against Notre Dame, takes it right into the paint and loops it up. He now has 9 points to lead all scorers.
He's a great penetrator, and if the shot's there, he'll take it. If it closes, he'll look to dish. Man-to-man by the Huskies.
Seabrook's down low. He's got very few looks. He did have that jump hook before, looking to take one again. Now he does a turnaround jumper, doesn't go. Rebound tipped out to Wren, up court to Freeman. And back to the QB, Elamine to Freeman. And a whistle stops play. It'll be a foul on Pittsburgh. Seabrooks getting the personal foul. That's his first.
Good job by Freeman and company. They took a modified fast break that time. They're always looking to push it. Elamine always has the head up, and he took it right to the goal. That was something they didn't do a lot of the other night, Don, against Notre Dame. I'm sure Jim Calhoun stressed that for tonight.
Their workout today, they went hard, the Huskies. They had a morning workout at 11 o'clock here at Pitt. And UConn making things happen at the free throw line. They've now hit 5 of 5 free throws to again extend for a 5th time in this game to a 7-point lead, 27-20.
One of the things about UConn is they can put scoring spurts together because of their quickness and ability to finish. Pitt has to try to calm that down tonight by having good offensive possessions each time down the floor.
Yeah, they got to make them all count. They're giving away a lot of depth, a lot of talent. They can come at you in waves with the depth of the UConn team. The co-captain Kevin Freeman with 2 free throws. Now it gives UConn its biggest lead in the game, 28-20. Greer, who's been quiet for a while, their top scorer and rebounder, rejected by Voskuhl, and then following it up is the big center, Chris Seabrooks from Macon, Georgia. He's a sophomore, and he'll go to the line. He's battling back after 2 surgeries on his right knee earlier in his career.
It was an outstanding move by Greer. Look at this spin move. This is big time, but Voskuhl with a great help, but that allows Seabrooks to get in, get the offensive rebound, and the putback basket. Very important hoop and possession for the Panthers right there.
And the foul on Suleiman Wan was his first. In and out. Missing those front ends. It's expensive. Here come the Huskies. Voskuhl coming out high. And the ball will go out of bounds and come inbounds. Let's see. And come inbounds to Connecticut, to the dismay of Coach Ben Howland, 41 years old, played at Weber State. His team's won over 20 games the last 3 years at Northern Arizona. Led the country in field goal percentage last year, and for 3 years in a row they led the country in three-point shooting. So you know where he likes to go with the ball.
Likes to take advantage of that opportunity. He's also showing in this game the ability to encourage his team to go inside as well. And again, not surprised to see this zone as Pitt continues to try to force Connecticut to the perimeter in this one.
Encourages his team, Ron, to make the extra pass. He said that's where the open shooters found. Both teams dishing it around very nicely tonight. Jacking the ball, looking to knock it free. Freeman comes across, and they call him on a traveling violation. A 4th turnover for UConn. The ball is back to Pittsburgh.
At times, Connecticut seems hesitant to take the shot against the zone. They've got to snap it around, look for it. If it's there, they've got to pop it and then hit the backboards.
Amin extending his defense way out on the freshman point guard, Knight.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job. That's a nice matchup. And I think Pitt right now is trying to control the tempo a little bit here. Take some time with the basketball to work some time off the clock.
Knight has just 2 points. Ellie Taylor gives it down low. Now their whistle stops play with 5:57 left to play in the first half. Edmund Saunders gets the personal foul.
Playing him so solidly defensively there. Really didn't need the reach in on that isolation. Just play him straight up, get your hands up, and then block out on the play.
Yeah, they're talking people that analyze this Connecticut team. They think with the overall depth of it, they might have a better 10-man rotation by midseason than they had on the national championship team last season.
That's saying a lot given what happened last year, but some excellent young players as well as returning veterans on this year's squad, no question.
And the biggest UConn team that Jim Calhoun has had in his 14 seasons as head man. The most remarkable stat about UConn, I think, last year, Ron, was they were behind at halftime 10 times, and they came back to win all 10 of those games.
That's confidence for you.
Knight with 2 points. Knocks down a 3. He has 5, and it cuts the lead back to 3 points.
Well, he plays with a lot of poise for a freshman, doesn't he?
He does. Well, it's in the bloodlines. His dad, Mel, a terrific player. His brother, Brevin, an NBA standout. This guy was, as mentioned, a top high school football defensive back. Why they recruited for that?
Boy, they're getting into it here suddenly as the zone taking effect.
But the ball is knocked away, and now Wan working for the shot. Can't get it to go. He comes down, and they get it for travel. Last year, it got pretty rough here. The crowd was really on Khalid El-Amin. In fact, Jim Calhoun protested to the conference that he thought it was really out of hand, some of the stuff they were yelling down at. And, of course, El-Amin, as is his wont, hits the game winner in the closing seconds for a 70-69 win, then jumps up on the scores table and reinforces the who won the game.
What an exclamation point he put on that one. Suleiman Wan in traffic the last time, just couldn't get his footing as he walked. And, you know, Pitt, give them credit at their home court tonight. They're just hanging real tough when they seem to fall a little bit behind in this one.
Yeah, they keep coming back behind 5 different times by 7 points and once by 8. Now we have a traveling violation called on the Pitt Panthers, so it's back to UConn.
Trading turnovers successive times down the court. It looked like Knight just took a big hop step, but he must have shuffled his feet before he did it.
That was the 8th turnover of the game on Pitt. 4:28 to go in the first half.
Good action here in the first half. Both teams have gone at each other, and It's not a real high-scoring game, but if the break's there, both teams have looked for it. Otherwise, it's been kind of a possession half, which I think favors the Pitt Panthers.
On their home floor, where they are 6-2 so far this year. Saunders, good work with the offensive rebound. Juan with another one. You can't teach height, and it gets you offensive rebounds, but that time a turnover on a traveling violation. It's back to Pittsburgh.
Robertson, the freshman there, he gets the penetration and the pass from Elamine. He's got to be ready to just pull the trigger when he gets it rather than take that step as he walks on that one.
Brandon Knight under control. He scored 5, including his last shot, which was a three-pointer. Down low they go to Seabrooks. There'll be a pushing foul on, no, will it be on Juan? It will not. It's going to go against Seabrooks, it looks like, for pushing off. So the ball is back over to the Huskies with 3:45 left to play in the first half. Connecticut by 3. Earlier, freshman backline player Brandon Knight knocked down a three-point shot for Pittsburgh. Down it goes. He has 5. It's a three-point game, Connecticut. I mentioned his older brother, Brevin Knight, now the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's how they look as the early part of their freshman seasons. Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty good comparable numbers there. Was Brevin a standout player at Stanford, and Brandon really looking poised, comfortable out there for the Pitt Panthers, distributing the ball and shooting it as well here tonight.
Well, that's what his coach Ben Howland really applauds about him, Ron, is his poise and maturity. That he didn't play like a freshman.
It really does. You can't handle the basketball under this kind of pressure and competition if you don't have that kind of poise, and he's showing it.
Elamine has gone a bit cold. He keeps launching long. Here comes Knight. So very quick, all the way, and the ball is knocked away from him. And they're going to rule inbounds to Connecticut. He's off a Panther, apparently.
Saying it went off a Knight's leg as that ball was stripped away. Not a popular call here at Fitzgerald, but Knight was going at a very fast clip down the court.
Yeah, he had it floored. Elamine has hit only one of his last 5 shots. He's 3 for 8 shooting for the game. Still a 3-point lead. Roscoe, the ultimate team man, looking to give it up.
The other guy that's got to start getting involved in this offense is Albert Mooring, yet to score so far in this game, and they need him from the perimeter. There he is.
He scores almost 12 a game, Mooring on the average. Good turnaround shot by Saunders, and it's 30-25 as the first half starts to wind down.
Saunders, another key guy for UConn. Freeman doing a nice job defensively in this game, and right now Saunders matched up with Greer. He can also put points up at the offensive end for UConn.
Here's Ricardo Greer. He's been defended well by a couple of rotating people on him. Averaging almost 18 a game. And here's Kelly Taylor putting it back up. And rebound taken down by Saunders. Playing very well for Connecticut.
You might get 2 chances, but not 3 that time for the Huskies.
And Saunders driving, looks to give it up, but it's off. Now they're going to reverse that apparently and bring it inbound to the Huskies.
Well, it was definitely deflected out of bounds. The question is, did it go off Connecticut or off Pitt? I thought it was just deflected out by Pitt.
They have no plastic water bottles in the stands tonight. They gave those away the last time Connecticut came in for people to slake their thirst, but a lot of those bottles ended up being fired around the building.
Probably a good decision then to withhold them from the crowd tonight. There's that cross-court pass.
Get it outside, driving hard to the basket is Kevin Freeman. He gets it to go down, and he'll go to the free throw line looking to complete a 3-point play with 1:56 to go in the first half.
Nice job swinging the ball this time by UConn. Any kind of up fake and then swing the ball, you tend to try to pass it before the zone can react, and Freeman that time wasted no time with the penetration to the goal.
Yeah, no basket, so the ball comes inbounds, foul before. Saunders doing good work again, gets the bank shot. We're coming to you from Fitzgerald Fieldhouse at the University of Pittsburgh. Don Criqui with Ron Perry. 1:45 to play, first half. The UConn, after a 10-game losing streak was ended on Wednesday night, looking to get rolling again. The defending national champions, who will drop in the ratings this week. They were ranked number 2 in America behind Stanford in the last rankings. And Syracuse will probably be rising after their Orangemen have now gone 11-0. And here is Zavascus knocked to the floor. They're going to hit him, make it a good one, I guess.
That's exactly right. Jake Voskuhl says, hey, you're going to have to earn these from the stripe. The key on this place, check it out. He's keeping his feet, and then he goes for the up fake right there. And right there, Voskuhl's really done on the play, and all he can do is come down with the hack.
That was the second personal foul on Voskuhl.
Why coaches are always...
5 team fouls on Connecticut.
Like coaches are always stressing, keep your feet inside if you can.
All these European players, they really hate to miss a free throw because they shoot about 1,000 of them a day. At National Car Rental halftime report, a check of the Big East wire, scores from earlier today, and a first half recap. 4 Big East teams went on the road today and won.
That's pretty impressive in and of itself. Not easy to do in this conference.
Any road win against anybody is a huge win. Zavascus now has 9 to lead Pitt in scoring. Elamine with the ball has 9 points to lead Connecticut. But he's not scored in over 6 minutes.
Pitt is not playing big right now. Zavascus in the middle of this zone at 6'8".
Battle for the ball. Knight comes down with it. Long lead to Greer, their top scorer, pulls up. Zavascus in there working, and so are a couple of Huskies as it's knocked away by Juan. Up to Elamine. Lead and looked good, but didn't finish off. Trying to get to the ball was Edmund Saunders. Almost out of control. Knight comes down. What a terrific looking freshman he is.
Oh, the up-tempo action there is both teams trading some blows, and Jim Calhoun looks at Khalid Elamine with 29 seconds, puts the hand up and says, hey, let's go for a quality last shot before halftime.
You see the game clock winding down. 20 seconds to play. Connecticut leading from the outset when they took a 7-0 lead. Built that 7-point lead a number of times, had an 8-point lead at one point. Elamine gone cold, but look at the offensive putback. Beautifully done as Albert Mooring gets the bucket, and now Taylor fires. And that will do it for the first half of play as we break with Connecticut in the lead 34-28. Led by Khalid Elamine, who scored 9 points. Saunders had 6. But a very, very hotly contested game, Ron.
It sure was. Connecticut played well, but Pitt very competitive in this first half.
Flow. Tonight they're spreading the ball around more, not shooting that well overall, particularly Elamine.
Well, there's been some good balance out there. Elamine setting the table. A couple of jumpers didn't go late, but some good balance from people like Saunders off the bench in this first half.
It has continued to try to bang the ball inside against a much taller Connecticut team.
I'm kind of surprised by that, Don. They've had some good success when they have decided to break to get the ball to the goal. Nice give and go here. Kelly Taylor back to Brandon Knight for the finish, and they've had a couple of those hoops in the first half.
Now let's take a look at the Buick halftime stats.
Well, there's been some interesting balance in this first half as both teams have shot the ball similarly with 42 and 46%, but the difference has been points in the paint. Surprisingly, the Panthers have done a very nice job in that area, as Connecticut, though, has controlled the backboards. They need to do more of that in the second half to pull away in this one.
One of the reasons, though, that Pitt is very much in the game, they've cut down on their turnovers, and their freshman point, Knight, has really begun to pick up his play. He's been the main force for the Pitt Panthers. We'll be back with the second half action in a moment. Khalid Elamine has hit 3 of 9 shots in the first half, but only 1 of his last 6. He is the leading scorer for the Huskies with 9.
Now, there's some balance there, though, as we've talked about with his teammates, and Saunders, Voskuhl, and Freeman up front, and Zavascus has done a very nice job banging away, all-out hustle for Pitt, chipping in with 9 points as well.
And Zavascus, as mentioned, has only put up 3 shots so far in the game and still leads the Panthers with 9 points.
That's pretty efficient, trying to get the 9 points. He doesn't need a lot of shots to do it as Connecticut comes out man-to-man possession Pitt to start this second half.
And he can stroke the 3, and you know that the coach, Ben Holland, who loves the 3, is going to be looking to free him up. Now they bring Dang way out on him.
Some interesting matchups in this game. Dang very quick, so it'll make it tough to get the shot over him with his quickness.
Panthers come out trying to feel their way as Vasquez puts Deng in the air with a fake but can get no shot. Rebound to Anjo Deng. Outlet to Elamine. Connecticut, a team that goes worldwide recruiting talent from the Sudan, from Senegal, from Australia. They got a 7-foot freshman center on the bench they think is going to be very good.
Justin Brown.
Of course, the Calhoun really built the program with the two great Israeli players. As now the ball is knocked out of bounds, it'll come back inbounds. Doug Hennefeld and Daron Sheffer, who are now playing for Maccabi Tel Aviv, one of the top international teams.
They really knew how to play the game, those two. And that really brings some veteran leadership when you can get a couple of guys like that. And, of course, Anjo Deng, people very excited about his talent at UConn. The zone again by Pitt, the 2-3. The shot should be there. Robertson and Mooring would be the go-to guys from the perimeter. They've got to look for the jumper.
A lot of ball movement now by UConn, looking to find something inside. They get a big guy at 6'11", no shot. Here's Freeman. Jump passing. Mooring fires and gets a three.
Yeah, he's a guy that's really got to start to get it going. That's his second basket of the night, and Mooring can be a very effective jump shooter, and they need him to get it going from the perimeter.
18:20 to go, early in the second half. You see the three-point numbers. Connecticut just 3 of 11. They've taken a lot. Now a three-point stroke by Holmes is good. Jeremy Holmes, a senior from Cleveland Heights, Ohio. JC transfer from Neosho Junior College in Kansas. Hits a big bucket. It's back down to 6.
Very quick backcourt with Holmes and Knight out there. Not real big for Pitt, but the two of them can really stroke it and push the ball up the floor.
And good ball rotation by UConn, looking to involve a lot of people. There have been 12 different guys combining both teams who have scored in this game so far. Vasco is rejected. And up with the ball is the freshman Robertson. There's a reject. Sent back by Seabrooks.
Wow. Sitting back in that zone. That's the shot clock violation. UConn never caught the rim on those block shots. As a result, violation on the shot clock. Wow, they were scrambling for that basketball last time. Connecticut just couldn't get the shot off in time. Seabrooks, what a rejection.
Here's Vasquez. They want to get him more shots, but the defense is all over him, doubling up on him. And here is a drive to the basket, rebound off the missed shot by Knight. Vasco comes in averaging 5.2 rebounds a game, and they call their goalie. He allows that defense to play very aggressively. He can cover up for mistakes with his rejecting inside. Three-point try by Elamine doesn't go. He's gone cold. Is it just one of his last 7 shots?
Yeah, he really has. He's got to probably look for some more penetration, but against the zone, he's taking what they're giving him, and it's that three-point shot.
He is 3 of 11 shooting the ball for the game. Fight for the ball, nicely done. Defensive board comes off to Freeman.
Connecticut right now saying 1 and you're done for the Panthers.
Vasco getting the open look, knocking down the 15-foot jump shot. 8-point lead for the Huskies.
Vasco's always out early working on that shot from the foul line area. He's improved his free throw shooting, and he's also improved his range with that short-range jumper.
And he's building his scoring numbers for the night. He now has 8 points.
Boy, look at Deng out there in Vasquez, huh? Showing you his quickness in this game.
They got some long-arm guys in this Connecticut team. They can really disrupt the passing lanes. Beautiful move to the basket. Doesn't go for Vasquez, but look at Seabrooks. Chris Seabrooks, the 6'9" sophomore with a slam putback. He now has 6 points, Seabrooks.
Pitt's had some success with that tonight with the second chance points as Vasquez threw a crowd that time.
Deng, not enough on it. Rebound to Vasquez. Here comes the freshman guard moving the ball, Brandon Knight.
Pitt's done a pretty good job tonight to control the pace when they don't think they have the break, to work the shot clock. It's important you get a high-quality shot when you do this.
Anjo Deng knocks the ball back. Here comes Alameen. Deng worked with the team all last year, wasn't eligible to play. He moves nicely on defense, though. He's really staying right with anybody he's on. As now we have 15:04 to play in the game. It's the Huskies by 6. You're watching Big East basketball from ESPN+. First 5 minutes of the second half without a foul as we watch Zavaskis working down low against Anjo Deng.
Kind of surprising with these big bodies. Look at Voskuhl having to help out after that nice up fake. No one home to block out Seabrooks, the big center for Pitt, sending it down and keeping the Panthers close in this one, just down by 6 in the second half. That's a surprising stat right there, Don. Points in the paint, Pittsburgh leading.
And of course, Pitt playing without for the entire season. Really their best player, Isaac Hawkins, a 6'8" senior. He'll be back next year. He suffered a broken leg in the preseason, so he's back working out. But there is Isaac Hawkins, a very, very good player, an all Big East preseason pick. And without Isaac, they lose a lot in their front line, and Ricardo Greer's the guy that's picked it up for the most part, and now Seabrooks coming up with a big game tonight.
Yeah, they've got to do it by committee with Hawkins out of there. That's a key loss. Of course, he'll be back next year. That's a benefit, but Ben Howland saying, boy, right now there are times he'd love to see the big fella out there.
Hey, he's got an injury red shirt. Ellie Taylor throws up an air ball. I don't know if anybody got a piece of it. And the ball will come back inbounds.
Jake Voskuhl showing some agility jumping over Khalid El-Amin on this play. Ooh, perhaps a high jumping career in order for Jake Voskuhl. Nice job on that one.
Another of Big Jake's attributes that's not that common among real big guys like him. He's an excellent free throw shooter. Hits 88% so far.
He works hard at it.
The long ball. And it's now with Ricardo Greer scoring a 39-35 game and a foul on Pittsburgh as Tony Robertson hacked on the drive to the basket.
Shows you how quickly UConn can push the ball up the floor, though. That was on a made basket. Jim Calhoun stresses it, push the ball up the floor, and they really beat Pitt back down the court that time.
And Zavaskis got his second personal foul. Jim Calhoun talking about what his offseason was like after winning a national championship. Big throw for him, a lifelong Red Sox fan, threw out the first pitch. On the Letterman show, he said watches every night, and then he was on it. Has a very best-selling book, Dare to Dream. It's really in its third printing now.
Must seem like almost a dream to him. The national championship and all those events occurring. He's really created a terrific program at UConn.
And he also sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at Wrigley Field. No encores.
That was a talent I didn't know he had.
He doesn't have it. His own admission was not great, but enjoyed it. His team now had hit his first 7 shots on the free throw line. 5-point game. Pressure on the ball. Brandon Knight coolly fires it up court to Taylor. Connecticut defenders, they can hawk. Very agile, quick to the ball. Here's Greer.
You know who's been very quiet tonight has been Jarrett Lockhart. He's covered by Saunders right now. He hasn't scored tonight, and he's a guy that had 19.5 last year. 1/2 of action against UConn, so see if Lockhart can do something out there.
Shot clock down to 5. To the basket, it goes down. Wow. Looks like it's supposed to in your home building.
Boy, that was some kind of move by Taylor as he just knifed his way through the defense. He's got some acrobatic abilities.
And it's back to a 3-point game. Voskuhl knocks it down low. The ball knocked to side court. Brandon Knight comes back down the floor. They could tie it with a 3.
Yeah, pitches won't go away in this one.
Clean block. Fisher right on it. And now as the Huskies start up court, they stepped on the inbounds line. So Pittsburgh gets it back.
Well, the longer that Pitt hangs around in this game, the more confidence that they tend to have. Nice job. Look at Voskuhl, just holds his ground, and Saunders from behind, but then the out-of-bounds play. But Pitt continues to hang tough in this ball game at home. Maybe we can set the stage for a finish like we had last year, Don.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. The last season, the last time that UConn came in, it had a 4-point lead with 10 seconds to play. Albert Mooring hit a 3, and then El-Amin hit a 2, a 15-foot jump shot to win the game 70-69. 5 unanswered points in the last 10 seconds of the game. And it's really interesting the way the two teams went after that. I mean, it was a down tick the rest of the way for Pitt and Connecticut. Well, you know their story. A great one on to the national championship.
Yeah, they had a great come from behind knack, and for Pitt, that was just such a stunning loss. Pitt that time had an opening inside to Seabrooks from Holmes, but just couldn't get it done with the execution.
Connecticut has not scored in the last 3 minutes.
Become just too perimeter oriented. They've got to take it to the goal more, and when they do shoot, bang the backboards.
Mooring with a brilliant play off the baseline of the floor. He gets it down, makes it a 42-37 game. Mooring now with 7 points.
They want the goaltending call. They're saying it was
not going to get it
on its way up. Let's take a look at it. Taylor really rises on this one. Let's see if this ball's on its downward flight. No, I don't think so. I think that ball still was on its way up or near the peak, but clearly it didn't look to me like it was on its way down with a chance to go.
So Kelly Taylor goes to the free throw line. Senior out of Carroll High School in Washington. Has not shot well this year, hitting only 21% from the field. But he knocks down the free throw, cuts the Connecticut lead to 4 points.
Taylor has played very well against UConn. In the 4 times he's played against UConn, he's averaged 15 points a game, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. He's very athletic. He's been injury plagued while he's been at Pitt, but he can get it done when he's healthy.
They've had really tough injury problems in the Panther program. Pitt in the second half has committed only 1 foul and has turned the ball over only 1 time.
That's pretty solid. And for Connecticut, they need to remain aggressive out there on the offensive end and get to the backboards and look to penetrate and not just stand around the perimeter, which they've been doing the last few minutes.
Connecticut continues to rotate the ball on the outer perimeter and looking for somebody big inside like Suleiman Wan, who just had the ball and now has it again. Little guys hacking at the ball. Open shooter. Instead, to the basket goes Albert Mooring, the junior from Preston, Maryland. And Mooring now has 9 and again is a 6-point Connecticut lead.
Last time Mooring went out of the game, Jim Calhoun had a real talking to with him over on the bench, and I'm sure the message was you've got to look for your offense out there, and he is responding right now.
Yeah, he's picking it up now, Mooring. Coming in averaging 11.7 and 9 already tonight with 11:40 left to play. Seabrooks goes to the basket. No call him on a traveling violation. So it's 44-38 Connecticut. You're watching the Big East basketball from ESPN+. And Rana was not a happy story the rest of the way after that loss for the Panthers.
It really wasn't when you consider the record after that. Check it out, 7-13. They just couldn't recover from it. That was a stunning defeat. And of course, Connecticut, the storybook finish all the way to the national title.
Pittsburgh had gotten off to a tremendous start last season with wins over teams like Xavier and Kentucky. And then they never recovered, really. Had a series of academic problems, injuries, deportment problems, leading to Ralph Willard leaving. He's now at his alma mater. Holy Cross is the head coach. And Ben Holland's in for the first year. Good drive to the basket. As Kevin Freeman now has 6 points for the Huskies.
Pretty good margin right now for Connecticut, and this seems to be the spot in the game where Pitt starts to respond. They don't want to let Connecticut build a big lead as they're threatening to make it double digits right now.
Greer, they've done a good job on the leading scorer for Pittsburgh. Good work by Chris Seabrooks. Going baseline, looking to slam, not enough elevation, so he gets it down and goes to the line.
That's a big basket right there. He beats Saunders to the spot, and then he beats him to the baseline. You can see it right there. You've got to force the big man the other way if you're defending and get some help. Once he goes inside you there, forget about it, as Seabrooks puts in the nice finish.
And as we approach the halfway point of the second half, neither team in foul trouble. Seabrooks completing the three-point play, and it's a 5-point lead UConn. Seabrooks with 9.
I mean, Seabrooks, a kid who barely played last year, Don. He has really stepped into an important role on this year's club.
Yeah, he's coming back from a couple of knee surgeries. Elamine, Knight has been defending him. There's some talk going back and forth. The friendly variety, they're smiling at each other, but it's the challenge is being met. Now reject from behind by Taylor, but they're going to get a foul call.
Boy, does Taylor has some quick hands. I'm not sure he might have got a lot of leather on that one, just knocked it out. Check it out with the slot. Whoa. You got to have pretty good precision to not hack him in on that one.
Pittsburgh has never led in the game. Huskies came out of the gate and built a 7-point lead, and now Albert Mooring, the junior, continues to build his numbers. A 3-point hit. He has 12 points and another 8-point lead for Connecticut.
Well, we talked at the beginning about other people stepping up. That's the Albert Mooring that people in Connecticut have seen before and want to see on a consistent basis out there with Elamine. Oh, nice look.
Down low, they can't get it to go, and here come the Huskies. Mooring has hit 4 of 4 shots in the second half, including that last 3-pointer, and Elamine now takes it down. The top teams, they can make it happen fast. And now Elamine with 11 points and the biggest lead of the game for UConn as they open up a 51-41 advantage with 9:55 to play.
A couple of impressive plays out there by UConn as Pitt is hung very tough in this game, but suddenly the guy that's really helping them pull away a little bit in the second half has been Mooring. He's become more aggressive, and then of course Elamine, he's always the go-to guy for Connecticut, but this is an aggressive play right here by Mooring. No hesitation, just sticks that jump shot from three-point land.
There's no question Mooring is looking for a shot more and more, Ron. And here's Elamine coming down, getting that high percentage drive to the basket. The great burst and the great ability to really almost tuck the ball under his arm like a running back. You can't get it away from him.
That's what I was thinking of there as he went with that angle we had, which was great from under the basket. He looked like he was hitting a hole in football, tucking that ball with a nice finish.
And the Huskies build their biggest lead, 10 points with 9:55 to go in the game. Connecticut lost its opening game of the year to Iowa, came back and won 10 straight, then the upset loss to Notre Dame on Wednesday night at Hartford. A rough go, 4 games in 8 days for the Huskies. They'll be playing their 4th game in the 8-day period on Monday night when they go against a tough University of Texas team in Hartford. Drive to the basket, reject, put back, doesn't go. And down with the ball is Edmund Saunders as Connecticut looks to put a knockout punch on now, build the lead.
Those are very important missed opportunities by Pitt. Great looks.
And Anjo Deng showing a deft touch inside. The guy from Sudan. His family moved to London. He went to St. Thomas More Prep in Montville, Connecticut. Deng actually sent videotapes out, Ron, to different colleges in the U.S., including Connecticut from London when he first started to play. They like what they saw.
Absolutely. They're glad they did as he makes shots like he just did there. Zavaskas yet to score in the second half. Well, there have been 3 or 4 shots by Pitt that just won't go down. They're just rimming out at the offensive end right now.
And a blocking foul on Connecticut. Stops the clock with 8:50 to go in the game. 3rd foul on Saunders. Only guy in foul trouble. And Zavaskas goes to the free throw line. Donatas Zavaskas, the 6'8" freshman from Lithuania. Donatas not big into that hairstyling. Not part of his game. He's on the floor as much as this guy plays hard.
Keeping it nice and tight. He just put his shoulder down that last time. I tell you what, Dang's been doing a great job on Zavaskas and basically denying him the ball. We haven't called his name a lot because when a guy's going pretty good like that, I'm sure Jim Calhoun just said, don't let him get it. And the quicker Dang has been keeping him away from it.
A guy they think plays a lot like Danielle Marshall, the former Connecticut All-American, Anjo Deng. Tell you, for a guy 6'11", he can really get up and down the floor. He's got terrific ability.
Yeah, he's agile. That's the thing that's happening with some of the athletes today is bigger and quicker, which is just adding a dimension to the game. That's a new one. A lot of athleticism out there.
Here comes the freshman kicking it out, Doug Wren.
But at the end of the day, you still need a quarterback out there like Elamine for Connecticut. Brandon Knight for Pitt. Ooh, nice strip. You don't see that often.
Sure don't. Battle for the ball. Brandon Knight out on the floor. It seems like Connecticut always comes up with loose balls. And the ball is put up and down on a drive to the basket by the big man, Jake Roscoe, who now has 10 points.
Boy, that was a fortunate bounce for the Huskies, and right now they've got it going their way, and when that happens, you tend to get some of those good bounces. I thought there might have been a tie-up call before that ball sprang loose.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys working at it, particularly Elamine and Knight on the floor. Connecticut getting defensive stops now. It having problem getting an open look at the basket.
They've really turned up the heat defensively. It's a lot tighter than it was.
Brandon Knight looks to dish, but he gets the wrong guy. Elamine intercepts. And now UConn, with the commanding 12-point lead, will look to work the clock with 7:30 left to play. Connecticut, a team that has dominated the Big East like no team in the 20-year history of the conference. In the last 10 years, 6 Big East regular season titles as Elamine strokes 3. That's a 2-pointer. UConn has won 5 of the last 6 Big East regular season titles, and Huskies have won both the Big East regular season and the Big East tournament the last 2 years. Never been done before, not even by those Georgetown powerhouses.
Yeah, they've just had a dominant stretch. No question, they're the team of the 90s. Will they be the team of the, 21st century? We'll see. Long way to go with Big East action. Oh, another strip.
And by Dang of all people, look at the lead pass. Down to Mooring. Beautiful basketball by the Huskies at their best. Dan Howland is up telling his team, we got to call timeout, try to stop the bleeding here, as all of a sudden Connecticut has ripped it open, leading by 16 with 6:39 to play.
Well, it's been a very tightly contested contest, but suddenly UConn finally puts the spurt together, which we've talked about, and they've keyed it off their defense. Couple of turnovers. Albert Mooring's really stepped it up in the second half. And Connecticut, vintage basketball, playing the tough clamp-down defense, and they've been scoring at the offensive end.
Right now, the Huskies are on a 13-2 run in the last 4:20 to build the lead. They led by 6 points at the half. One of the things they're really taking away is the three-point chances. There's just no looks out there for Pitt, and that's what they want to do, launch long and get back in it, but they haven't even had a chance at it.
You think Jim Calhoun's competitive? You think he wants this one as a bounce-back victory after the Notre Dame game? A game on the road, and that's what Connecticut does. They don't give you a lot of good open looks, and right now, Pitt really in big-time danger. They've got to put a run together now, 2 at a time, and play some good defense at the other end.
But still, no good shots. Here is Knight. They switch, and Greer pulls up, and Greer has really been quiet, the leading scorer for the Pitt Panthers. He's also the leading rebounder in the Big East. 11.5 a game coming in. Fourth in the nation in rebounding. 59-43 UConn. And UConn leads the Pitt Panthers 59-43. And now let's take a look at the Beck Spear game summary.
Well, it's been Connecticut. Look at the points off turnovers, getting it done. Mooring's really stepped it up, and Pittsburgh has gone quiet in the second half. That's amazing, huh? No field goals in the last 10:59, and Zavaka's been quiet. But that Connecticut defense, their trademark, really has stepped it up in the second half.
That's made the difference. And also UConn shooting as they're driving to the basket. They've hit 69% from the floor in the second half. Shot under 42% in the first half.
Been very difficult for Pitt to get it to the goal. A bigger front line by UConn. Whenever the penetrations happen, they haven't been able to get good shots off.
Hard throw inside, fielded by Brandon Knight, and a foul call on Connecticut. Another thing, area that's Vasco with the foul call, is third. Connecticut leads the league in attendance. The Huskies sold out all over the state wherever they play. Television ratings, absolute blockbuster ratings. They blow everything else away when they're on. Now Mooring is going to get the foul.
Racking a few up after a very, a half that didn't have any fouling. Suddenly there's some reaching in going on out there.
How about the Connecticut fouling? There's 90,000 alums living in the state of Connecticut, and most of them want to go to the games.
No question, huh? They've got a great following. All the games sellouts. Looks like Elamine lost a shoe at the other end of the court.
He threw a shoe. He's going to have a timeout now called. They're yelling things at Elamine, and nothing fans the fire more. He only gets better. A field goal shooting. You see the second half field goal shooting for Connecticut, 69%. That will get you back to the Final Four.
That's right. That takes care of a lot of problems. Coaches can talk all the strategy in the world. You put the ball in the basket at that kind of a clip, you're going to be awfully tough to beat. And Pitt, on the other hand, as we've talked about with the Connecticut defense clamping down, has gone the other way.
Hey, you talk about, Ron, the strength of the Big East this year. Obviously, UConn, the preseason pick for number one, the defending national champions, but Syracuse is really strong. They have 5 starters returning. They're off to an 11-0 start with their win at Miami today. They have a great freshman guard you haven't heard about yet, Sean Williamson, the same high school as Kevin Freeman, Patterson Catholic in New Jersey.
Yeah, they're really talented as Elamine knocks that 3 and Jason Hart at point, and I really like Atan Thomas in the middle. Awfully tough defensively.
Elamine heating up again after that cold streak. He's now hit his last 3 shots, and he has scored 16 points. Elamine comes in averaging 18.6 points a game. Seabrooks can't get it to go with 5:05 to play. Elamine controls the offense.
Connecticut in complete charge now. They're going to set their offense and run it. Ooh, this is an unusual turnover. Oh!
Finally, a putback. Leading scorer, Ricardo Greer, leading scorer for the season, who's been so quiet tonight, finally gets the putback following the play, but it's still a 17-point lead for Connecticut.
With Elamine out there, awfully tough to make up this kind of a deficit because he's the floor general. He's got the team taking time off the clock right now.
Another hit by Albert Mooring. And the lead builds now to 64-45. Biggest advantage for UConn. A 19-point advantage with 4:15 left to play. UConn coming in 10-2 on the season, 0-1 in the Big East.
Well, we talked about who might step up tonight. Boy, Mooring has certainly done it to help Connecticut.
Now a 3-point shot is knocked down by Holmes. Jeremy Holmes, the senior 6-point-a-game scorer. Elamine, there was a lot of controversy when Bob Hill, the coach of Fordham, after Connecticut beat Fordham, said he didn't think Elamine was going to be a pro unless he improved his game. That's not what you hear from pro scouts.
No, that's not the way I see it. I've seen Connecticut a lot this year. I think a lot of teams would love to have Khalid Elamine at the next level in the NBA.
You know, they really assess all his attributes, Ron, and I think Calhoun sums it up best. He says the best thing he does is win games. So with the score 64-48, we'll be back to Pittsburgh in a moment. And Cricky with Ron Perry back at Pittsburgh. Elamine upping his production now to 16 points on 6 of 14 shooting. The rest of the team getting a lot more shots tonight than the last time out.
Yeah, they've really got some much better balance, and they've just stepped it up in this second half.
Building to a 19-point lead. The Huskies coming into Pittsburgh in ill humor after that 75-70 upset loss to Notre Dame on Wednesday night that ended UConn's 10-game winning streak. Dish down low to Seabrooks. Oh, the Connecticut defense all over the man with the ball. Knight has no shot. Gets it out to Taylor. Ball slapped inside court to Saunders as we're down close to 3 minutes left to play.
If you want to look to a guy that's really come alive in this second half offensively, it's Albert Mooring. He has answered the call in a game where Pitt was really hanging around, but he's helped UConn blow this thing open in the second half.
Elamine loses the ball to Brandon Knight, and then fouls him, and Brandon slaps him on the back. This has been a mano-a-mano on this. I'll tell you one thing, you're going to see a lot more of Brandon Knight. Got it back away.
Yeah, he sticks his nose right in there. Elamine has lost it a couple of times with him there, just kind of lost the handle, but Knight has shown an awful lot of presence on the court tonight.
And they've thrown a few objects on the court here tonight. Now cleaning that off as Coach Calhoun is out counseling his lead player. Maybe getting out of the line of fire. I don't know where that stuff is coming from. Looks like they're throwing donuts out there. As long as they're fresh, there's no immediate danger.
The fresher, the softer, huh?
Week-old bagels. Now you got another story.
Jim Calhoun over there talking to Khalid El-Amin, saying, hey, take charge of this thing and let's put it away with 2:44 to go. Pitt, on the other hand, is going to have to continue to bomb away from three-point land, and it's going to take an awful lot of firing to get back into this one. But they've played very tough, but they went into that drought in the second half.
A tremendous season unfolding in the Big East. Next season, Virginia Tech will join the Big East Conference, when the Big East will then have 2 7-team divisions. And this year, the Big East has reduced the number of conference games from 18 to 16.
Now, Virginia Tech certainly showed unbelievably well this year on the gridiron, making it all the way to the title game.
I wonder if Michael Vick can play basketball. He can probably play anything.
He's quick enough, huh?
Yeah. Tell you one thing, at Florida State, they went with a game plan. Hit Vick every play if you can. He must have been hit 30 times
took
hard.
A pounding. Yeah, it took a pounding. No question about it. But boy, did he show some style points and quickness points out there.
Fabulous. Saunders, turnaround shot. Bosco, way up and over, getting the offensive rebound, and now he gets it down to Kevin Freeman, the 235-pound power forward. Lunges to the basket, and a foul call on Pittsburgh.
Well, he seems to be pretty quiet tonight, but I'll tell you something. You talk to Jim Calhoun after this game, he'll have positives to say about Kevin Freeman. Talk about a guy who shows up 150% every time out there. He's done a very nice job defensively tonight against Ricardo Greer.
And going to the free throw line is Freeman. 2:21 left to play. Kevin Freeman, the guy who was the most valuable player in the Big East tournament last March at Madison Square Garden, after he was not selected to the All Big East first team. The senior co-captain. What do you think about him as a pro?
I like him. I think he's got to continue to develop. He's adjusting to the 3 spot this year, that medium range jump shot, but I love the way he hits the boards. Very athletic, and he plays excellent defense.
Connecticut has really turned up defensive pressure in the second half. It's led to this very good shooting. Connecticut ripping the game open. Defensive stops leading to breakaway points. Zavauskas getting a rare look at the basket and an open shot. And Mooring gets the rebound, also takes a shot in the jaw, but he's all right.
It's a contact game, but Zavauskas and Greer, the clamps have been put on them in the second half by the Connecticut defense. That's been the key.
With 12:40 to play, it was a 42-38 game, and now subsequently UConn has gone on a tremendous run. Zavauskas getting a couple of points, much needed for the Panthers. It's a 17-point Connecticut lead. Zavauskas with 13 points, had 9 in the first half.
Pressure by Pitt. They're just trying to trap if they can, and Connecticut is just calmly working the shot clock down. Four-corner offense now by Connecticut. They'll just work it. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Look for El-Amin to penetrate.
I tried to go single on El-Amin. Notre Dame. Did he blow right by him? Matt Doherty, the coach, likely to do a hot knife through butter, but he's having a hard time driving on Brandon Knight. Bosco now with 12 points, has played a great floor game also. One of his best efforts of the season as we're inside a minute to play. 68-51 Connecticut. The Huskies looking to start a new win streak. They'll finish tonight 11-2 on the season, 1-1 in the conference.
I don't think Lockhart has scored in this game tonight, Don. He just hasn't been able to get shot opportunities, and another defensive effort turned in by Connecticut. So once again, Connecticut, some good balanced scoring, but the defense has really led the way.
And Lockhart is a 13-point-a-game scorer, 12.8, and has been an effective three-point shooter. Not tonight. Connecticut defense too much. And now El-Amin, the taunts of the crowd, once again, will point to the scoreboard. Who won? Khalid El-Amin has got slapped out to Mooring, and a fitting ending to the game as Mooring's three-pointer goes at the buzzer. Actually 4 seconds left to play. It's 73-51 Connecticut. 22 points for Albert Mooring.
Wow. That was the buzzer you heard, was the shot clock buzzer. That shot released just before the buzzer went off, and Mooring, just a dynamite second half for the Huskies shooting the ball. That is a big lift for UConn.
Well, you talked, Ron, about how much they needed him to pick up his scoring. They need the balance. Still looking to replace the tremendous play of Richard Hamilton, the All-American Big East Player of the Year. Now with the Washington Wizards, who averaged 21.5 points a game for the national championship team. The horn sounds. The game is over, and Connecticut is back on track big time with a 73-51 lead on the road. Now let's take a look at our best play of the game, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Well, there was some wild action in this game, but this typifies some of the action. Good matchup there with Knight covering Elamine, scrambling, guys getting after the basketball. But when it gets going good, sometimes you get the bounce, the nice look by Dang inside to Jake Voskuhl, and a lot of bodies on the floor, a lot of hustle, and Connecticut pulling away in the second half of this one.
And we'll be coming back to Fitzgerald Fieldhouse at the University of Pittsburgh in a moment after the 73-51 lead and win by the Huskies. And welcome back to the University of Pittsburgh. Don Criqui with Ron Perry, where the Connecticut Huskies have now gone on to win 73-51. In the last 7 minutes and 20 seconds of the game, Connecticut outscored Pittsburgh 31-13. It's just 12:40 left to play. It was only a 4-point game. Connecticut defense leading to Connecticut offense, leading to a dominating win by the defending national champions. One of the standouts tonight was Albert Mooring, having his best game of the season. The 6'3" guard from Preston, Maryland, with a tremendous effort. And to find out more about it, let's go to Ron Perry, who's with Albert.
Well, Albert, this was a very tough game tonight on the road against Pitt. You're coming off the loss against Notre Dame. What were you thinking of at halftime? You had 2 points the first half. You blew the game open in the second half, and you came up with 20. Were you thinking, hey, I'm going to really look for my offense and let it go?
Yeah, I had to, because, you know, like you said, I only had 2 points in the first half. I knew going in the second half, I had to look for my shot.
It seemed to open up for you, Albert, with a couple of drives to the basket. The zone, the ball was swinging, and all of a sudden it got to you, and you had a couple of good looks getting it to the goal.
Yeah, my jumper wasn't falling for me, so coach was like, take it to the hoop. Never get me going on my outside shot.
Now, the team really played some good defense. We were looking at Ricardo Greer as a key player in the game for Pitt, obviously, and inside, Jarrett Lockhart trying to get it going from the perimeter. It looked like the defense really clamped down on them in this game, and they went 10 minutes without a field goal in the second half.
Yeah, you know, in the past couple practices, coaches, emphasized we have to go out and play great defense because, they got a couple guys that can, make it happen for them. And I think Kevin did a great job on Greer, as well as us guards on Lockhart.
You're in the midst of a very tough 4-game stretch. You played Sacred Heart on Monday, Notre Dame on Wednesday, at Pitt on Saturday, and you're going to go back and play Texas on Monday. Were you guys thinking this was really a big game for you tonight?
Yeah, this was a real big game because, we ain't want to drop 2 games because you never hurt of confidence. This really helped us tonight.
How was the mood after the Notre Dame game? Did you say, hey, we got to go on the road and really get it done with the defense the way we've typically done it and get ourselves back on a roll?
Yeah, that's Connecticut basketball, playing great defense. That's what we wanted to do, come out here and play great defense.
I thought that Khalid once again did a great job distributing the basketball. You guys absolutely have to have balance, and you must have said to yourself tonight, I'm going to be the go-to guy in the wing because you let some threes go. That last one went right before the buzzer. You must have been feeling it.
Yeah, everybody's saying, we need to help Khalid out in scoring, and, that's what I wanted to do tonight, just come out and help him.
Now, nice job, Albert. Good win for Connecticut. Albert Mooring with 22, 20 in the second half. Back to you, Don.
Okay, as Albert Mooring, coming in averaging just under 12, scores 22 tonight. Here's 2 of them on a drive to the basket. We'll be back with more from Fitzgerald Fieldhouse following the Connecticut victory in a moment.